See you, Leanne. Hope everything's going well up in Oregon and snowy Florida. We never hear that, but wow, what an incredible experience. So I hope you guys are enjoying that. Here in Texas, North Texas, we have no snow and cold weather. And in Corpus Christi, yesterday they had snow. So what a world. We've got a great turnout for today's webinar, and we are really excited to have you. Want to welcome all of you. Connie's one of our facilitators, and she's in Winter Haven. And good to see James from Greenville. So lots of people. And I want to introduce to you somebody who is no stranger to SGR, and that is Hope Boyd. Hope worked for SGR when I started to work back in 2011. She was our communications director then. She did an incredible job. We always talk about the amazing work that Hope Boyd did. And she went on from there to work for the Mansfield Independent School District and is now the Chief Communications and Marketing Officer for the City of Cleburne, and is doing an incredible job there. I got to do a council retreat for them a while back and heard, as I was not surprised to hear, glowing reports about Hope. And we worked it out for her to come and be with us today to talk about storytelling in local government. Nobody tells a story quite like Hope. And so, Hope, welcome. Thank you for taking time to be with us. Welcome back to SGR, if that's a different way to say it. We're so glad
to be here. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I want to turn it over to you and let you talk to us about storytelling in local government. And I want to say to those of you that are watching, if you have a question, if you will use the chat box or the Q&A feature, we'll get to as many of those as we can. But for now, Hope, take it away.
All righty. Well, I'm going to talk about storytelling in local government. Obviously, that's why you guys are here. My background is actually in news. I know the camera's here, but my screen's here. So forgive me if you get my profile. My background is in news, actually. So that's just what I do. No matter what I do, I'm just a storyteller at heart. And I think it's very important to do that in local government as well. Let me get this. What is storytelling? So storytelling is the art of conveying a narrative or a series of events. It's the beginning, middle, and end of a story, taking your audience through an experience. And so it's funny because we know that children love stories. That's why we have story times in our libraries. We know that people like stories. Podcasting is huge. Audiobooks is huge. This is a great way to digest information. But for some reason, when we get older, we think adults want to read dissertations, and that's not the truth. Everybody wants a good story. And that's why when you're mindlessly scrolling on social media, you can know that, oh, I'm just following people's stories. That's why it was a good story. So I kept on scrolling. So that's why we want to kind of enact that also in local government. And there are stats behind storytelling. Stories are 22 times more memorable than facts alone. So I could tell you something, you could tell your constituents anything, but once you have a story behind it, they're more likely to remember it. 56% of consumers who feel an emotional connection to a brand will stay loyal. And I know it says consumers, but really it's just the people digesting your information. If they feel an emotional connection, they'll stay loyal to the city, the county, whatever. And emotional connections are grown through storytelling, through having that human interaction and just showing a heart. Give your city or county a heart. And then good storytelling is also among the top 3 things that make content effective. And also just some more science behind it that you probably don't know, because I was shocked to hear this, but digital words, US citizens consume more than 100,000 words every day. So because of that, we have to make sure to keep it short, keep it catchy. Like, we only have 5 seconds to get their attention. I read something that said, humans really have the attention span of a goldfish because we have so much information coming from all kinds of areas. So we just have to make sure that we're piercing through the noise of that. 92% of consumers want brands to make ads that feel like stories, and that's important because no one wants an ad. But people are saying, hey, if you're going to give me information that I didn't ask for, at least make it a story. So just like you have information that maybe your citizens don't know they want, make it a story, make it, A to B. We're walking you through, we're telling you why it's important, not just putting, a long jargon-filled press release out there. And also, the brain processes images in comparison to words 60 times faster than just words alone. So, and in some research, it says 60,000 times faster. So whatever the number is, it's way more than just words alone. So because of that, you have to show it. Don't just tell it. Make sure you use images, more compelling content. That's photos and videos kind of outshines photos. But if you cannot do a video, photos works as well. So let's give you some real world examples of what I'm actually talking about. So in Texas, and I saw, someone in Florida that said it'll snowy. There's a lot of Arctic air going around, and it's very common to just say, oh, thank you so much to the men and women who brave the weather to keep our essential services operational. And that's good. I don't hate that. That's great. But it just adds that extra oomph when you show what's going on. And then, oh, can you imagine doing this in sub-freezing temperatures in the middle of the night? That's what our public works crew does in all types of weather. And we're so grateful for them. So now you're seeing it. Now you're like, oh, he's knee deep in mud. Is that what he does all the time? Rain, sleet, or snow? Is that what they do? Okay, so now I know what I'm thinking. Now if I see him out, I'm going to be like, no, I appreciate you. This is what you do. This is our tax dollars at work. And you do this, and I'm at home just, warm. I get it now. So that's adding that human connection to it. Another real world example we had recently, or fairly recently, at the end of 2024, there was 2 workers in our public works crew that basically saved the life of a toddler. The woman was, in the car, looked over, saw a toddler choking. The man ran into action. And so we could have, and it would have been fine if we did, said, hey, great job to these 2 public works employees who helped save the life of a toddler who was choking nearby. Great. It would have had lights, all that other stuff. But we decided to do it. I'm not going to show you because it's laggy on Zoom, but trust me, it exists. There's a video that we did. I'm a one-woman shop, by the way. So no excuses if you only have one person in communications. It can be done. We just did a video and just showed, hey, here's the story. Here's the emotion that was behind it. Here's what they thought as it was happening. So it just adds that extra oomph to it. It adds that emotional connection, and now you can hear the emotions coming through and kind of see the sights and sounds as well. So a picture is great, but adding that video, that really adds that connection to it. And so the results of that, news stations picked it up. We just posted it on the website and social media, but our local news station, it got to AOL News and Yahoo, it just went because we posted it. And so that they did their own renditions, and it's just so important to tell your story. Okay. It helps control the narrative by telling your own story. If you don't, someone else will, and it may not reflect your truth or vision. A lot of the times people are spending time pitching. CBS didn't come. I'm so mad they didn't come. You can tell your story. You have your citizens' addresses. They follow you on social media. You have your own following. Media is not as important anymore to government to tell the story. It used to be, the local newspaper, we got to be friends with those reporters because they're the only people who can get it right, but we can tell our own stories. And really, there's a lot of skeleton crews out there in TV news anyway. So as long as you write it correctly, you give them the video, it's an AP style or whatever, they'll copy and paste it. And they'll be grateful for you for that. So just know that you need to tell your own story. You have to get on the offensive and not the defensive about telling your own story. Key elements for a good story: have it be relatable, focus on real people and their experiences. People like people, so just make it people focused. Authenticity, it's so important, especially for governments, to stay genuine and don't be overly polished. I know when you say government, you're thinking, okay, I gotta wear my boots, my blazer, this, and then I'm gonna be on camera. And what's my script? People don't like scripts anymore. It's unscripted, long form. Now, know what you're saying. Don't just go on there unscripted for no reason, but know what you're talking about. But talk, like have an actual conversation, because it's the difference if I say, hi, I'm Hope from the City of Cleburne. Why Cleburne's so amazing? You're going to click off. You're going to say, okay, I don't know what she's reading or what she's on, but that's a wrap. But if I just say, hey, Cleburne's cool, here's why, and then show, I don't know, kids or whatever, and just show not me, show real experiences, that goes way further. And especially with the advent of TikTok and all this, kind of guerrilla video, to where you're just showing, you don't even have to be polished. You're just showing this and hey, blah, blah, bye. That's what people are used to. Conflict and resolution. Just show challenges and how they were solved. And that's really important for cities as well. Don't just show, hey, construction's finally over, haha. You can actually say, hey, here was the issue, here's what we did. Aren't you happy? So always start with solution. We fixed it. And the end, and even add, some pizzazz with some citizen commentary. And emotional connection, use emotion to engage and inspire action as well. So just, it's all about asking people how they feel, what they feel about, and things like that. Tools and platforms for storytelling. Digital platforms, is social media for quick visual storytelling, websites and blogs for long form. What I like to do is kind of give a snippet on social media and then connect it to the longer story that is on the website. So you kind of have those dual platforms for that. Visuals and multimedias. Yes, use high quality photos and videos and graphics, but you don't have to spend thousands of dollars. If you have a phone, there's your high quality photo. There's a lot, the newer phones, those are greater quality than some things you can buy at the, photography store anyway. So just know that, no excuses. You can use video on your phone. You can do the photos from your phone. It's fine. And then use tools like Canva, Animoto. If you don't have someone designated for it, there are free features for there as well that can help you with both graphics, photo, video, everything. And most importantly, collaborate. Most of the pictures I receive, because it's just me, I have to partner with departments and say, hey, can I get that? Can you give me that? You wouldn't happen to be across the street from this, could you? Could you just snap that real quick? So just have it be a collaborative effort so that people can get to the stories to you. And about storytelling, some best practices for it. Well, listen first. Okay. So that's most of communication. You listen, you have to keep your ears to the street and keep, just know what's going on in your community. That's number one. You can't just you got to know and kind of feel the heartbeat of the community, and empower your departments to tell your communications department about impactful stories and create maybe a process for submitting those stories to the people. And also be inclusive. It's so important to represent your community accurately. Representation matters, and you don't want to ice out a portion of your population because they don't see themselves. If I see kind of the same demographic, the same, socioeconomical status, whatever, I'm going to say, oh, that's what they care about. That's who they really want to promote. They don't care about us. And then you just lost that population. So with storytelling, making sure you're inclusive of your entire population, and then measure the impact. Don't be afraid to pivot. Look at the data and say, people are not responding to this. Let's not do this anymore. We'll just pivot and call it a day. And that's fine. That's part of storytelling as well. I know there are questions as well. So I just wanted to do a quick overview to kind of launch some questions. But yeah, Mike, I'll turn it over to you if there's any additional anythings.
Oh, for sure. Thanks, Hope. Really
No
love
problem.
that. Here's a question that came up I want you to expound on. Any good ideas about using storytelling as it relates to the budget and communicating about the budget? That's always a tough one. So what have you seen or what are you doing that like?
I have seen some really cool ones, actually. Now, this, you kind of need a team for this, but even if you don't have a team, what are your highlighted things? What are your main goals for the budget? We're working on roads. We're working on staff pay to show appreciation. We're working on, this new fire station. So let people know, instead of saying, $53 million budget that will touch every department and this and that and this. No, what are your highlights? And then yes, you can click for more, but people want the big picture type things, so at least get 5 main points that will really resonate with your community. And I think that'll be probably better off as a story.
Now, some of the things in the budget don't touch citizens as directly, and so probably not trying to use storytelling for those, but those bigger things, that's really where it's at.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just bite size. I think because it's government, there's so much jargon and there's so much, just nomenclature that people use. And really, you're supposed to write like you're writing for a 5th grader. So we have to remember that. We have to remember, hey, if I don't understand what I'm talking about, I know my community won't. So I have to break this down. If it's too difficult for you, if you had to ask, like, what does that mean? I don't know, just put it out there. Then that means you didn't write it correctly, enough for your citizens to ingest at least.
Right. Here's another question. It's something I wanted to get to also. Talk about your connection with the departments. Do you have consistent weekly meetings with them? How do you teach them? How do they teach you?
Okay, so that's good. That's very important because, yeah, I touch every department. I literally do. So you have to get out there. As a communications person, I can't just be in my office and say, hopefully the stories come to me. You have to build a rapport. Everything's about a relationship. So just touching base. Yes, I have meetings. I have different meetings with different people. So with different departments, depending on their stories, how many divisions are under them, I have that weekly to make sure I'm keeping a pulse on everything. I have meetings with our event organizers monthly to make sure that's good. I have website liaisons, social media liaison. So yeah, it is about keeping up with people. That's very important. And just making sure that you're being balanced, because it's so easy to have all these stories about parks and recs, but then, poor housing is over here, like not getting any love. So I really have to spread that out and say, hey, when's the last time I did a story about, building permits or public works? Am I showing them enough love too? So it's a juggling act, but it starts with relationship.
Kind of along those lines, if you were to be able to tell your colleagues, this is the number one thing I found we to tell department directors, what comes to mind?
Hmm. The number one thing to tell department directors as it pertains to communications, I would say include your communications personnel in the process. I think a lot of the times people have the subject expert and they're like, oh, we're going to be in our little brainstorming. Don't worry. We'll get to with communications to push it out, And so by the time you're ready to push it out, communications is reading it and we're like, what are you even trying to say? Like, what did this mean? Oh gosh, you already sent this letter out. I wouldn't use this word. I wouldn't use, So just know that we're also public relations people. We're specialists in what we do, and we're specialists with relating to the public. So include us at the front end so that there is a smoother process and an easier rollout.
Yeah, that's good. Somebody else asked about new employee orientation. What do you have
Mm.
about building connections and inspiring them on their first day with storytelling?
Ooh. I mean, it's going to take time. Obviously, with new employees, don't want to just get out there and tell stories. But I think that you encourage people. When I first came in, anywhere I start, no one wants to tell me their business, because that's really what it is telling me your business. And you're just like, I don't know you like that. So if you have the relationships, if you say, oh, you know what, you did that, that's actually pretty cool. Okay. And just keep on going. Eventually, as they see the stories you put out, as they get comfortable with you, they'll start sharing things. Hey, Hope, I don't know if this even matters, but the firefighter rescued a cat out of the tree yesterday. Oh, that's amazing. So they wouldn't have told you that otherwise. So it's a relationship you have to nurture. And I think the best communications personnel have a relationship with their departments to where it's an open door for storytelling.
Do you use storytelling in new employee orientation to sort of get them excited about working for the city?
For sure. For sure. I mean, hopefully they're already excited because they're there. But absolutely, I think a nice little promo video, a nice little, I just think it's important to, yes, recruit, but tend to retain. Like, why should you stay? Why is it great? So those periodic stories of, this is why we're so awesome. We offer this. Remember, we do this, and we care about our staff members. So this, it is important actually for city manager offices to do that, even if it's through email. You don't have to do a video, but just tell a story somehow to keep people engaged.
Yeah, very good. Okay, talk about Facebook. How many different pages do you post information to? And is it possible to have too many pages? So elaborate on your approach there.
So actually, when I started, I think we had too many pages, and we had like a Parks and Rec page, but also like a Recreation Center page, and then this facility page, and then this. It was too much. I control the main account, and then I also have access to the sub accounts. So I mean, I easily have about 16 different accounts that I look after, and just go through. Okay. Okay, yes. It's 16 different accounts that I just go after and look through. I don't necessarily post to the sub accounts. I control the main one. But if something goes awry, I can definitely get access, do what I need to do to fix it. And it's important to also have, especially if you have that many pages, you have to have meetings and just contact with those liaisons to make sure you're on the same page, whether it's for branding or the kind of stories you do, have brainstorming sessions about story ideas to post. So just different things like that.
Okay, it's great. And then here's another great question. Do you have a process for other departments sending you information in a timely manner? Do they just text it to you, or is there a platform that everybody sends stuff to, and you go through there and find what you want, or what's your system there?
Yeah. So if it were a person department, I would absolutely say, hey, get a jot form, get a web form in that people quickly, say something so that somebody from the communications department can see it and contact the person. As it is now with how we do it, I mean, I just get stuff. People text me, people email me, people call me. It's however, and sometimes I'll see it. Sometimes I'll just see it and I'm like, hey, you mind telling me about this? Why did you think it was important to tell me? So it's just that interaction. That's why I said it's important to get the news too. Yes, you want people to give you the news, but you have to be aggressive and get the story out of some people.
So you can't get too bogged down sitting in your desk and not being out.
Yeah.
So
No, you have to be out there.
Yeah, you're both over communications and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about the stress points there, and do you do marketing in a different way than you do communications? Talk to us about that.
So communications would be more public messaging, transparency, um, uh, earning and maintaining trust. So yeah, that's like one aspect of it. That's the one you usually think of. With marketing, it's more promoting the initiative, promoting an event, promoting, whatever goal you have. So it literally is doing both. For now, it's mostly communication because as a one-person shop, you usually just go to communication. That's what the public needs kind of right here, right now. And then you peripherally do the marketing because of social media, because of special needs that may arise. I think that the challenge, at least for me, when it comes to communication and marketing, communications is always going to be more challenging because you're dealing with sensitive information, you're dealing with hot button topics. You have to work in speed and accuracy when something just happens that you don't even really know about, but you have to get the information out quickly. So it's definitely more of a science and art and a dance to communications. Not that it's not to marketing, but marketing, I just feel you have more time, you have more this and that and this, and let's do this with the campaign. Communications is less forgiving.
Yes, that makes sense. Okay, we got some questions about newsletters. Are you in favor of newsletters? What about letters? And what's the frequency of those? So give us the Hope Boyd philosophy on newsletters and e-letters.
So my first philosophy is know your audience and understand their needs. Like, do they even want one? Like, we did a survey at first, is this even something you want? We don't want to waste time and your energy. So make sure of that. We have an employee newsletter that goes out monthly. I do a community newsletter that goes out weekly. That's something I just inherited. And you look at the data, you look at the analytics and say, okay, well, people are still reading, so I'm not going to stop, But I think newsletters are worth it if you have something to say. I think a lot of people just think, oh, cool, I have something else to do. And we have a podcast. Well, what are you doing though? Like, what Is it something you need, or is it something you're just trying to say, check, we did that too? So if you actually have news, if you know that you have consistent news and this isn't just something for the website or social media, then yeah, I think newsletters are definitely still viable because email is the best way to contact people still. I know a lot of people put emphasis on social media, but email is the direct, is probably the highest form of marketing that you still have.
Yeah, yeah, that's excellent. Okay, well, you mentioned something about unscripted, and I love that because I believe in doing unscripted interviews. And here's an unscripted question. Uh,
Oh, yay.
yeah, uh, Hope, what's something in the area of communications and marketing that you've been rethinking lately, or something new that you're thinking about that pull the curtain back and let us know a little bit of what's going on in your brain as you're thinking about communications and marketing in local governments.
Um, I am not, so I'm not rethinking this, but I have been thinking of this and I'm like, do I really like it as much as I thought I did? I would say AI, and I know people are like, what? Oh my goodness, AI is amazing. And it is, like ChatGPT, amazing. But I think because I'm such a storyteller, I can tell when someone used ChatGPT A, especially with social media posts. I'm like, that sounds too flowery and fake. Then you have way too many emojis. You wouldn't do that naturally. So, so I can just tell, and that human aspect is gone. Even if you say, hey, chat, make it sound more human, make it sound more, you just can't. There's just something about storytelling where it just adds that extra oomph to it with that human touch. So I was just thinking recently, I was like, we're like kind of losing that human touch and losing the art of storytelling because people think, oh, I'll just have chat do it, but they can't. That's just a program. You're the person and you can add that emotion to it.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You may have read this book. Kendra Hall wrote the book Stories That Stick, and it's really all about the mechanics of storytelling, and it's fantastic. And I
Mm-hmm.
recommend that. Here's another really good question I love. Any tips on involving community members in this storytelling process to sort of boost their engagement and make sure they're reflecting the community's unique experiences?
So I wouldn't necessarily give it to them, but I would do stories about them, you know? So I think it literally is, like you can have a scene. I think if for openings for different things, I think the go-to is always get the mayor, get the city manager. So if we opened a new senior center, get the mayor, yeah, get him on camera, talk to him. But really, how effective is it for him to say, hey, we opened this senior center, we're so glad, and it costs this million, and we're going to help so many. But if you get the woman who is using it and saying, oh my goodness, I wouldn't have gotten out the house today. Actually, I need the senior center because that's the only thing I do all day ever since I was a widow ever since my husband died 5 years ago. Oh gosh. Oh, well, now I feel bad. And now I want my tax dollars to go to this. Yes, please upkeep the senior center for her. So it really is not necessarily giving the mic to the people to hold and to start saying their own story, but giving them a platform to say, hey, we're still controlling the narrative, but we want to know your emotion. So we're kind of, allowing you space on our platform without them just going rogue with it.
You sound like me. One of my cardinal rules is in interviewing is never let go of the mic.
That's what they teach you. Do not give your power away. Exactly.
Sure, sure. Well, Hope, this half hour has gone by way too fast. And we are definitely going to have to ask you to come back soon and share
Bye.
more with us. You have an amazing talent, and I think that
Thank you.
ability to tell stories is such an important thing for cities and local governments. I, stand amazed at all of the things that cities do so well, but telling their story
Yeah.
sometimes isn't one of them, and we need to
Yeah.
change that.
Exactly, because they do so many good things. Like, you can have bad citizens, citizens are mad or this and that and this, but you guys do amazing things. You guys have great programs. Let people know, don't be on the defensive, be on the offensive. Don't be reactionary to it. Like, proactively be out there telling your story and the great things you guys do.
Yeah, great. One last thing to say before we sign off. Our Servant Leadership Conference, January 30th and 31st, is sold out in person, but there's still time and room for you to register for the virtual sessions. So if you want, we're going to post that in the chat box, and we would encourage you to do that. We have over 300 people that'll be in person, 170 something signed up to be a part of it virtually, and we would love for you to do that as well. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I can help answer them. And so everybody that's been a part of this one, Lisa Shook, thank you so much. Hope, can't say thank you enough for your work. And all the best to you and everyone in Cleburne, and for everyone that's been watching. Thanks. We